Happy Lunar New Year, truth seekers. What's going on? If you're out there celebrating, enjoy, eat up. Happy Thet to everyone in my culture. I'm sure you guys are eating, drinking, possibly gambling too, just having a grand old time, and everyone's passing out those red envelopes. So, if you don't know what the Lunar New Year represents, it's the new moon. That's the first day of the new moon. And so there's a lot of cultural, references to the Lunar New Year in the Asian culture, but also in other cultures too that celebrate the Lunar New Year. I can just speak for me, obviously, because I'm Asian. But, the new moon is representative of many things, and there's a reason why it is celebrated, and we're going to get into that. And we're going to get into everything moon today on this episode, because I don't think a lot of people really understand the deeper meaning or significance with the moon. I mean, to many, right, it's just this object in the sky that you see at night, right? But believe it or not, if you don't already know, the moon has a massive effect on our spirit and our souls and how our bodies move here. So I'm going to get into that in this episode as well. But first, the Lunar New Year, it's celebrated because the new moon, even in ancient times, it represented renewal. Sort of like how we see spring. Spring is pretty much where everything grows. Like, that's how ancient cultures viewed the moon. And so I say this to say, I don't know if you remember the episode, the New Year's Day episode, where I was briefly talking about the calendar, how that's not really New Year. And I say that because in ancient times, people used the lunar calendar. They followed the paths of the moon to determine agricultural decisions, political decisions, various things. Following, honestly, the Lunar New Year calendar would probably be the most accurate. And so, how do we get the calendar we're in now? Well, it was created during the Roman Empire to create order, to help society run properly, operate properly. And so Julius Caesar created the calendar, and that's what we know it to be, January through December. All those months also are representative of different planets as well. So that calendar was supposed to represent the solar system versus the moon. But the problem is that a lot of people found with that calendar during that time is that, the seasons were off, the days were off, and it just was very confusing for them. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, for thousands of years, people were using the moon calendar, the lunar calendar, and it was okay. It was good to go, but whatever. That's a whole other story. So anyway, it was revised later by Pope Gregory, which is the calendar we use today, the Gregorian calendar, because the Julian calendar, it was off in terms of days per month and things like that. So with the Gregorian calendar, they revised it, and that's the calendar we know to this day. So when I said that, like, the first of the year, January 1st, is the new year. It doesn't change the energy, right? The celebration coming together. However, it's not reflective of what people were classifying as the new year. The new year is today, first day of the new moon during ancient times. And so again, my culture, we celebrate that, the Lunar New Year. And there's a lot of misconceptions because it's been called Chinese New Year for like mad long in society. And I felt the way, what I'm saying? I felt the way. Because the Chinese aren't the only ones that celebrate the Lunar New Year. So I'm very glad that was changed, because it's the Lunar New Year. It's for any culture that celebrates the new moon. So, quick background about the Lunar New Year, or just Chinese New Year if you're interested. So you see I'm wearing red. Red is a color for prosperity and good luck and fortune. So that's why you see so much red around in the Chinese culture, but across a lot of Asian cultures too. So the reason why you see dragons, the dragon dances, the drums, the firecrackers, all the red, is because ancient folklore said that there was a dragon named Neon that would come and like terrorize people on the eve of the new moon. And so what the Chinese did back in the day, this is legend, what they did was they would scare away the dragon with loud noises, banging. Like that's why they used the firecrackers, the drums, and he didn't like the color red, so that's why people wore the color red. And those red envelopes you might see being handed out or, all over social media, they would put money into the envelopes as an offering for the dragon to go away, take the money and go. That's why you see so much of that during the Lunar New Year. Just some history. I know I'm popping off with a lot of history, but it's important because it all is connected to what the moon is, how cultures celebrate it. So that's the Lunar New Year, right? Now, in terms of the moon, in ancient history, the moon has been a source of wisdom, and it's very connected to femininity, the divine feminine. A lot of rituals were done during all different phases of the moon. So it was used for spiritual purposes. And again, like to us, it's just in the sky, right? That's all we see. But like the moon is a very powerful and important aspect to life. And, before I continue, I'm sorry, I am going to pull a card today. Okay. Each week I'm going to pull a card. I mentioned that in the last episode. I'm just reminding you that I'm going to do that. But anyway, so a lot of rituals for birth and manifesting and things like that were done during different phases of the moon. And for my ladies out there who are watching or listening, the moon phases are reflective of our menstrual cycles. The fact that the moon is divine feminine, it's just interesting how, how us women, when we're all together or someone has their period, like for some reason, all of us end up getting our periods at the same time. Like, if you really step back and think about it, like that's some powerful shit. Like that's not coincidental. Like that's pretty unique and special. And that happens to me too. Like my moon cycle, it just, the way that my body has functioned, I would menstruate. This might be TMI for some people out there, if you're not a woman, but earmuff this or fast forward this part if you want to. But for the women or anyone who's interested, the times you menstruate during a certain phase of the moon has meaning. Each of those phases, ladies. Oh, shoot. I forgot to talk about this. So I just saw it. I wrote a bunch of notes down. That's why I'm looking at it now. So before I know, I'm sorry. I was talking about you were probably mad interested in this. I'll get back to it. But I need to say, so with the dragons and the Chinese New Year, dragons are representative of wisdom, power, knowledge, courage. They can also serve as protectors and guardians. But in Chinese culture, they also saw it as a symbol of chaos and destruction. And I was just thinking about it and sitting and meditating on it and just, letting it come to me. And I'm like, I feel like the reason why they felt that way about dragons is because, back in the day, they might have seen something that they were unfamiliar with, they've never seen before. Therefore, most of the time, if you see something that you haven't seen before, especially like, an animal or a creature, the first thing that's going to come to you is you're going to be scared, right? Fearful. I'm not feeling or picking up like that was what the dragons were, whatever they might have seen back in the day. It was just a matter of being confused and not understanding what they're seeing. Like kind of like, when like an alien just popped up out the sky, like imagine freaking, I don't know, 460 BC. You're going through life and then all of a sudden this metallic object comes out of the sky with lasers and shit like that. You're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck, right? You're not gonna know what it is. For us, not saying we're used to seeing aliens or anything. I mean, there's been so many UFO sightings, but what I'm saying is it wouldn't be too far-fetched to see the spacecraft because, we have spaceships now, we have airplanes and advanced technology. But back then, they was living in freaking mud huts and like, houses made out of clay and all that. So to see like something, let's say a dragon to come out of nowhere, it's like, what? It could scare the shit out of you. So I say that to say that, like, I feel like quite possibly that legend is just been a legend of misunderstanding because dragons are very powerful and they're very connected beings to the higher dimensions, very mystical. Again, they come with a lot of spiritual importance, wisdom, and leadership. And they're protectors, guardians. So automatically when people are scared, they equate that to like fear, danger. And so it immediately puts a negative connection to what they're saying, right? When it could have been like a sweet ass Puff the Magic Dragon. They look very scary, but they're very sweet inside, I'm just saying. But anyway, going back to the moon. So the moon cycles. So ladies, as you menstruate through each of these moon cycles, it could represent where you are currently in life, where you are headed, or just who you are and your connection to the divine. So if you menstruate during what we call the white moon cycle, if you're menstruating right now around this new moon, what that means is these women who menstruate during these times are a few days before, a few days after, but within that time period, you are nurturers. You really care about family. You're very family oriented. You step into that role of being a mother and taking care of people. And you very much so, like, not to say that, it's a bad thing, it's your choice, but you are women who really accept the idea that I'm the woman and this is my role in life when it comes to a relationship or a marriage or family life. Like, I'm the mother, I take care of everything, I take care of the kids, I take care of the household. And, my husband or my man's the one that goes out and get things done. Like, very much like, I want to say like very princess treatment kind of thing. Like you're okay with not taking the reins, so to speak. So if you menstruate during that time, you might either be in that place right now or you are that type of person. Now, if you menstruate during the purple moon is when the full moon transitions to the new moon. Now, if you are menstruating during this time, then that would mean that you are in a stage of change in your life, quite possibly making big life choices, sitting in a state of reflection, thinking about what matters in your life, thinking about what's working, what's not, what you need to remove. But again, that's not to say that you won't come out of that. Once you come out of that phase in life or where you are, in terms of your soul and your spirit, you will see that your menstruation cycle will change. Now, if you menstruate during the pink moon cycle, which is the waxing moon, this means that you are coming out of that time what I just said, the purple moon, and now coming into a time of transformation and kind of like seeing the light and having the epiphany. Now, if you, and this is where I am, which I've learned that I've actually been in one of the other moon cycles before. That's why I know this to be true, because ever since I made changes to my life, I've been consistently in the red moon cycle, which is what I'm about to share. The red moon cycles is when you menstruate around the full moon. Normally, women who menstruate during these times are healers, highly spiritual gifted, and probably an OG in this spiritual realm, been around for a minute, highly connected to the divine, but also women that aren't, they're carers, they're caretakers and they're nurturers, but they're not so much like in the white witches, the white moon cycles or whatever, where they're okay with stepping back and not taking leadership. The women in the red moon cycle, they are about it. They're not going to wait for someone to get it for them. They're going to go out and get it. They're like the truth seekers. They're the ones who are about growing, not only being nurturing, but about growing yourself and wanting more out of life and really take care of not only themselves physically, but internally too. So I thought that was interesting to share when it comes to the different type of moon cycles and how that's actually connected to your menstrual cycle. And that's something that I actually learned not too long ago. The connection to the moon is so deep. It's here. The moon helps to keep this planet balanced with the tides in the ocean. Without the moon, this world would be in chaos. I mean, this world would be like just toppling on top of each other. There'd be tsunamis, tidal waves, hurricanes everywhere. So the moon, its orbit, helps to stabilize the oceans here. And I say that because, well, there's many things I want to go, oh God, I don't know how deep I should go with this. I mean, y'all are truth seekers, right? Okay, well, let me say this first and I'll say that part next. So, that being said, you know, when you think of water, you think of emotions, right? A flow of emotions. So that's why spiritually we're connected to the moon in that same way. Our emotional stability. That's why you see like on, you know, you heard people say like when it's the full moon, people just act the fuck up. It's because their emotions are not regulated. They're bouncing all over the place. So they might end up, so wild shit happens during a full moon. That's the reason why. If you're not a balanced person, that will very much affect you. If you write it down next time if you ever see yourself acting a certain way and you're like, yo, this is not normally how I act or how I react. Just look up the moon phase. You'll be surprised to see what moon phase is that you're acting this way, and probably around the full moon. But again, that is to say, like, the moon helps to sustain the oceans here and connects with all things emotions. Next time, well, when you see it in the sky, just don't think it's just an object, because it serves a purpose here. And I mean, okay, I'm trying to see how deep I want to go with this. I guess if we're on episode 8, it's like, I gotta just, there's no boundaries, right? Alright, so I'll say this. There has been conversation about the origins of the moon in our planetary history here. Science might say something else, but others have said that the moon was not even here. That the moon was brought here from another solar system to help with regulating the oceans on this planet. You can track it. It connects to the weather patterns here and the riptides, the waves in the ocean. It's scientific. People utilize the moon to determine that. So the beings that, this I'm talking about even before we had civilization here. I mean, anything. Like, oh man, I don't know. I feel like I gotta ease you guys into this. Some of you might already know this already, but in terms of the beings that have watching over, so to speak, this planet, because as you know, I've said before, this planet's been prophesized to affect this universe in many ways. Anyway, so before civilization, even before any life forms here, this was just a planet. And so there had to be a way to regulate the waters. It was just so many tsunamis and hurricanes. It was very unpredictable. So the moon was then brought here to help with that. If you look up the distance from the moon to the earth, it's very strange in comparison to other places, other planets that also have moons in their orbit. The positioning of the moon to the earth specifically. It is so accurate, like to a T. Y'all can look that up yourselves. And also, we are going down the rabbit hole here. There's been conversation. When I say conversation, I'm going to say around, folks who are tapped in and conspiracists. People started questioning what was inside the moon. Because, okay, my ear's going. All right, so I'm going to say it. So, the reason why people started questioning the moon, because I forget what was dropped. Something was dropped onto the moon. It was an experiment that we did. I forget if it was us or another country. But the object dropped on the moon, some sort of equipment. And the freaking moon rung like a bell. You can look it up. It was news articles about it. It rung like a bell. So the theory was, if it rung like a bell and it wasn't solid inside, let's say, if you drop something on Earth, you're not going to hear anything ringing. That would mean that the moon is hollow. So that would mean if it's hollow, something must be in there. Eventually it's going to come out. We're going to have a lot of disclosure here this year. Get ready. They may try to flip it and scare you and call it some fucking Close Encounters, alien invasion type bullshit, but don't pay mind to that. I mean, what I'm saying isn't too far-fetched, right? Again, as I always say, this is not for me to convince you. This is for you to take what you want from it, believe what you want. I'm just giving information. But the fact that we are in a time where the woo-woo, the fairy tales, the stories, the movies about ETs, I don't like to use the words aliens, but ETs are not real, but look what the government came out and said. They revealed it. Our government in Congress, they revealed extraterrestrials exist. And they exist in our oceans. They exist out there. It's no longer a made up story. It is fact. Which I found that a lot of people were not talking about it because so much has been happening here that it's just like another thing on the list. Maybe people weren't ready to make that into their reality yet. Like that's something they're yet to process, but like it came out. So I guess for me to say what I'm saying isn't far-fetched now, is it? Yeah, y'all. Y'all, we gonna get real deep on this damn podcast because I ain't even begin to talk about what's inside this planet. Okay? Okay. But anyway, there's been said that there are people, beings, co-collaborating in the moon. Maybe I'll save another episode for ETs. I don't want to get this into ETs. I have a lot to say about that, so we'll save that for another episode. But again, we're going back to the moon. And so, again, the moon has different roles here. And talking about the Lunar New Year, it's also the year of the snake. Snakes are all about transformation, change. It's no coincidences. You know what I'm saying? It's the year of the snake, transformation in Asian culture, right? And then it's also in numerology, it's the year of the number 9. Number 9 represents completion. All of this all together, it's just, this year is truly a time for people out there to finally put an end to what's not serving them anymore. And that can translate to many different things. Only you would know that. But this is truly a time to put the nail in the coffin and be done with it once and for all. It's a time to close that chapter out. A chapter that's not only been written by you, a chapter that's been co-written by hundreds of other authors through situations you were put in, sometimes at no choice of your own, sometimes at your choice. This is a time for you to close that and write your own in a place, in a space where it's really coming from you and your soul and your spirit. Not from what you went through, not from what you've experienced, not how others have treated you, not how you were brought up, not how you were this, how you were that. Like you at your core. This is a time to close the old out and start brand new. And if you're willing to do that, I'm telling you, there's no feeling like it. I said this in my first episode that I released on this podcast, to be in a place where you've been deprogrammed, cleansed, cleared of everything, people, places, and things, patterns, thought processes, all of that, to be stripped. Strip yourself of everything so you rebuild from a place where it's you, your decisions, how you view life, starting from you. So this year is a powerful time to change your life once and for all. But for those of you who have been doing the work for some time, you're going to see that your life is really going to manifest the way that you want it to manifest. It's a reward season for those of us who have been doing the work. honoring ourselves and connected to spirit. And you can't lie to spirit. Like, if you out here saying that, if you say that you are, but you're really not, like, you're gonna find yourself having to continue down your path, certain paths, and learn more lessons. Like, that's something I learned. Like, you can't lie to spirit. They know. Oh, if anyone knows the truth, they know. They know. Whether you're ready or not for whatever it is you're looking for. So use this year, if you're still on your journey, to say goodbye to that old life. So right now I am going to, let me just take a look at my notes. I want to make sure I got everything down that I said. I sure did. Man, this episode went all over the place. There was just so much to share, you guys. So much to share. And I'm excited to talk about in my birthday episode, which will drop after which will be the next episode. Just sharing my journey and just where I'm at now. And that's what it is with this podcast, right? You're going to get a mix of everything. It's called Words of Wisdom for a reason, right? You're going to get words of wisdom for me, not only with life situations, but also you're going to get words of wisdom about, spirituality and the universe. You know what I mean? That's why my logo looks the way it does. I'm very much a child of the stars. So with that being said, I am going to pull a card from my deck and feel into and tap into what my spirit team would like to share with you, would like to share with the collective for this episode. It could be something that's applying to your life right now. It can be something that could apply later. It's timeless. It can just be an overarching theme. So let's see what they would like to share. Just let me connect really fast. We have 2 messages. Okay. Okay, these are the 2 cards. Damn, this is deep. For some reason, they want me to share. So it says great teacher and wise one. So this card represents learning from spiritual experiences, but this is also a card for Jesus. And we'll get into another episode about religion, but he's my boy. He's with me all the time, one of many. And this card is wise one, and it says grow within your current situation. There's 2 things that's picking up for me for this. that I'm feeling into. First, let's get this out the way. Through my experiences and what I've witnessed and have been shown during my transformative years. I mean, I've been on my spiritual journey for almost 10 years now, but hard body karate, like the last 3. Last 3 was accelerated. So because of that, because of me going through that process, that journey, I'm able to be here and share this with you, this knowledge, and also be in a comfortable state to share and speak on the things that I'm sharing. It's because of what I've literally have been through and seen with my own eyes and experienced from spirit that I can sit here and tell y'all, like, this shit is real. This shit is very real, the spiritual realm. It's no longer a question thing for me. It's no longer a, ooh, if I, it's no longer, having to validate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just fact for me. It's fact. And so I say that so I can share with y'all. Share my wisdom through my spiritual experiences and how that all applies and affects your life, your decisions, your mission here, the lessons you're supposed to learn here for the ascension of your soul. So I'm getting that I need to share that with you guys, that I'm not a Miss Cleo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sharing what I share because not only do I feel it, see it, know it, but I've experienced it. And maybe that's a precursor to the next episode, my birthday episode, which is pretty freaking cool. The second thing I'm picking up, whatever it is you're experiencing in life right now, whether it's good things, bad things, it's all part of your spiritual journey. Everything that you go through, you grow through. And it's teaching you how to now handle situations as they come up. Wisdom is gained through experience. And instead of viewing your experiences through whatever which way you want to view it as, take it as, what is this teaching me? Versus the woe is me, which you're absolutely entitled to feel. But remember, feel into the emotions. Don't let it sit within you. But look at it and say, what has this situation taught me about myself? Maybe taught me about others. Taught me how to have a different perspective on how I handle things or how life is. And instead of seeing, this is coming up too, instead of pulling the woe is me victim card, see how you can grow from this, whatever it is you're going through. Everything that you have gone through in life so far are all interconnected. It is literally like a tapestry that's being woven, like a tapestry that's your life. That's what I'm seeing, like a really beautiful tapestry. And it's like you're weaving the story of your life, in this lifetime at least. And so every weave adds to the big masterpiece at the end, when your life is complete. So as you think of life that way, and you think of your life that way, you'll see that the situations that you have been through, they are all connected to create this completed masterpiece that is your life. That doesn't mean that it's going to be rainbows and butterflies the entire trip, right? From what you go through, that wisdom, the hardship, the wisdom that you're gaining from the hardships, the difficulties, let's say, the hurt, the pain, you take that and you transmute that into empowerment. And by empowerment, I mean, instead of treating it like it's a negative thing, treat it as if, okay, these are my battle wounds. These are my battle scars from life. Wear it like a badge of honor. And now I'm going to move through life and take that with me. And now rearrange the direction in which I've been headed. Create a different path for myself. So instead of seeing your situations as burdensome, yes, it's hard maybe. Yes, there might be moments you want to just scream, why me, or fuck the world, but you cannot see the light or the good in things without going through the bad. Yin and yang energy, as we're talking about Lunar New Year, that's what that is. That symbol, the black and white, it's balance. It's the balance of life. That's the reason why God Source Creator even created negativity. I don't want to say negativity, but the contrast of positive is negative, right? Because God Source, the Creator, everything was just fantastic and amazing. But the thing is everything's fantastic and amazing all the time. It's kind of like, okay, well, what now? And that's how God Source Creator started breaking off into different energies, strictly off of wanting to experience life. And as I'm viewing this card too, you see this right here? This crow. This crow represents rebirth. Owls represent wisdom. And I want you to look at this card here. This is coming across too. Jesus loves you all. He loves each and every one of you. Whether you're Christian or not, it doesn't even matter. Again, this is not about religion. I'm just mentioning Christianity because people, we're going to get into another episode of that. He did not even want all that to happen. But anyway, any event, and then you see the dove here. You see how it's flying free. So think of this card as the situations you're going through, the hardships, the difficulties, the whatever other word you want to use. Once you are growing from this situation and you're gaining the lesson that you need to learn from the situation, without you even knowing, it is only enhancing your spiritual connection and assisting with your ascension if you choose to look at it that way. Instead of being in a state of just anxiety and depression all the time, seeing it that way will make you feel like this. Like the dove. Free. You see how free that dove looks? Flying out in the sky? And almost with like a new fresh perspective on life. So I hope that helps you. I'm not being called to read the message, but I'm going to do it anyway for you guys because the cards speak for itself. Okay, a lot of you, they know. So don't do it. I'm not feeling to. A lot of you are going, this is also the last thing I'm going to say. A lot of you are going through a state of rebirth right now. And which is, again, it always, what they pull out, my team, let me tell you something. Always connected to what I'm talking about or the theme, but a lot of you are going through a lot of transformation and rebirth right now. And through your situations that you're going through this year, like I said, the Lunar New Year, the new moon, it's the numerology, it's the year number 9, completion. You're truly, this year, if you choose to, again, free will, this is a rebirth time for you. There's a terminology in spirituality called death and rebirth. Not necessarily death like dead, but like the end, the completion, the final stage of the old you before you become the new you. Again, very representative of these cards, right? Right here. To be you. To be free. To be free. And in your really walking in your energy. I'm also getting that a lot of you are also going to really tap into spirituality a lot more this year. The collective that's listening or watching. These experiences, thank you, Spirit, these experiences that are currently going through are to help catapult you into your spiritual journey. If not the beginning or even further, diving deeper into that. You will see how your situations of what you've gone through in life so far are all assisting in your connection to spirit and enhancing your ascension. A lot of you all are going to see how everything is truly connected and divinely orchestrated. It won't even be a second thought for you anymore. Like wondering, is this real? Is it not? Or wanting to learn. A lot of you guys are at the beginning of your journey. And what happens at this time at the beginning, it happened to me too, is you're trying to soak in all this information. It's just natural. But eventually you'll see as you continue to really integrate spirituality into your life, that'll subside. That feeling of wanting to know everything will subside, and you'll be in a state of Zen, calm, when you know everything is aligned and you're just flowing through life. And you all will get there. And as long as I have this podcast and you're listening to me, I'm going to help you get there. All right? I hope you leave this episode feeling enlightened, which I feel like you've been. And remember, Everything begins from within. And it's not just a phrase that I'm coining. It's true. It's really that simple. It's not more complicated than that. Once you work in here, all of this will fully be aligned to fully connect. Well, you're always connected to the divine, but truly seeing that magic happen, some of the things that I experience, once you're there, you'll see life so much more differently. All right? I'll catch you on the next episode. Love and light. Peace.